Well, I'm Jeff Parsons. I'm Strategic Partnerships Manager at Demand Logic. Basically here to sort of tell you really sort of how we can help the property management and property asset management industry. Um, so really we're here to help with some of those real challenges which are faced by property managers and indeed facilities managers, asset managers, with some of these things which really are kind of trends which are happening within the industry, a lot of which we're now quite aware of, but we're still sort of struggling to sort of really address them and sort of how to really react to them really. So one is that leases are becoming a lot more shorter and flexible. We've got increasing sustainability targets. Wellbeing and productivity metrics are becoming increasingly well known and a concern to people. And also that our buildings are becoming a lot more complex, and we actually want to get a lot more out of them. So what does this mean? Well, it basically means that we're needing more customer focus, more measurement, and more knowledge. And basically it's just more, and this is tough because believe me, the property management and facilities management industry, they don't need more things to worry about. So really, I want to talk about these sort of last three things really, because they are becoming increasingly important and they are things that we actually need to look at. So firstly, starting with sustainability. Last year in 2019, we became a lot more aware of our responsibility here, and something has become a lot more sort of well known. That's the performance gap. And to put it quickly, as an industry, we're very good at saying how sustainable something should be, and we're very good at these point-in-time assessments, but really not very good at continuing that sort of level of performance in practice. And I mean, in a way, this is sort of case in point with this graph here with EPCs, which shows that F-rated office buildings on average are actually less energy intensive than an A-rated building. And this is a real issue, and it's something which has been highlighted by the UK Innovate report, which found that buildings are on average 4 times less efficient than designed. So it's a real issue that we're having to face as an industry, and a lot of that is actually down to your BMS and HVAC operation. The other thing is well-being and productivity. We're becoming increasingly aware of the impact that temperature can have on a space, how much CO2 can have, and then also, really interestingly, the perceived air quality and the impact that this has on productivity and health and well-being. And then the other is really looking at the complexity of the buildings. And we're installing all this really great equipment, but the problem is that we're thinking that just installing stuff alone is going to solve the problem. And we're not actually equipping engineers with sort of the tools which they really actually need to basically do a good job. And a lot of them are really sort of trying, but the complexity that we have in our buildings is such that it's a real struggle. And they're also just relying on periodic inspections, which really rely on the perceived condition, really, and not actually direct maintenance on actual. A bit like what we do with cars and planes. So we're really sort of behind that as an industry. Now this is a problem, because what's happening is we're now sort of having this new product-based expectation on property. We're ultimately now expecting a level of functionality and efficiency from property that we receive from other consumer products. However, without a clear understanding of the operational performance of any product, it will be set for commercial failure. And at the moment, when we look at some of our buildings, what's our product experience? And it's unanticipated breakdowns, lengthy down periods, increasing operational costs, and uncomfortable environments. But why is this? And really it's down to a lack of operational visibility. We do not have the ability to critically analyze what is happening in a building with sufficient agility, which is on demand and looking at the whole picture, sort of a holistic view. And it's not just zooming in on a specific issue, and in effect eliminating your field of view on the wider picture. So we've really got this quite clunky view of what's happening inside a building. And that's tough, because what most buildings have is this monstrously complex building management system network, which is necessary, but is really only concerned with the operation of the building. It's not concerned with the analysis. And that's an issue, because there are thousands of data sets within a lot of buildings, and that can be anything from temperature sensors, fan speeds, electronically operated valves. And if just one of those things has a failure or isn't operating correctly, that can have an effect on the whole building. So you really need to have data visibility of everything which is going on inside a building. But what if you had that level of visibility and with an agility which was on demand and was holistic enough? Well, you'd be able to enable a reduction of operational energy wastage and carbon emissions. You'd be able to, FM teams would be able to focus on the internal air quality to improve well-being and productivity. And fundamentally, you'll be able to facilitate proactive data-driven maintenance. And really, this is where demand logic come in, because with just a single piece of hardware requiring no capex or downtime, we can basically begin digitizing your building within 24 hours. And these are the new KPIs of property performance, where we can use data to direct maintenance based on its impact on energy, comfort, and mechanical output. And this isn't just about signposting. So we don't just say, here is a problem and good luck. I mean, if you remember what I said about property managers and facility managers not needing more things to do, they don't need more problems. Well, we enable users to find solutions to problems. And when the platform is used to its full potential, engineers can be finding solutions before property managers and even occupiers know that there is even a problem. So imagine that. And one of the beauties of the platform is that basically anyone can use the platform. So fund managers down to engineers, anyone can use it. But these, and these views are things which are relevant to them. So yes, we're a data analytics company, but we do all of that data analysis so you don't have to. So for instance, you can benchmark your property portfolio, see which buildings are performing well, maybe where attention needs to be addressed, whether you've got resources which are financial or human. And indeed, look at how actions are progressing. How much money are you saving? What actions need to be done in order to get the biggest bounty in terms of saving money and looking at comfort and maintenance? And with engineers, just remotely, they can have a digital twin at their fingertips. They can look at things and assess problems remotely without having to go to site, without having to follow those exhaustive biscuit trails that they sometimes have to do. And they can evaluate plant on actual condition. For instance, they can look at how effectively a fan is providing temperature to a space, but then weigh that up against how much effort that fan is having to go through in order to do that. And that's a really powerful tool. And really, we're grateful to be working with some really, really good companies out there. Some of them are doing some really inspirational things and actually remodeling the way that they approach property maintenance, and even just looking at the way that they approach going back to like the product and really looking at property as a product. So it's really interesting, very, very inspirational to be working with some of these companies. And really just to give a highlight of some of them, Crown Estate is one of our partners, and we've been working with them since 2015. They've been finding lots of energy savings, really, really looking at that space as a service sort of sell which they have, and really implementing sort of the demand logic system within how that they approach their FM maintenance. And equally with Legal & General, who we've just recently begun what's beginning to be a very strong partnership with them. They're really quite good advocates of this idea of continuous commissioning. So almost looking back at that idea of EPCs and such being these very good point in time assessments, they're really looking at how you can just continually commission things, because ultimately buildings are susceptible to entropy. You can't just fix them one day and expect them to maintain on their own. They're constantly changing. So they're really sort of big advocates of that idea of continuous commissioning. And that's it really. So if anyone's interested in hearing more or seeing a demo of the platform a bit more, then those are my details. More than happy to speak to anyone. Some really fascinating stuff going on out there, and really quite excited. So yeah, thank you for listening.